Alright, so let's talk about the real villain in smartphones. Not Apple, not Android, not even software bugs. It's heat. Heat is that one friend who shows up uninvited and ruins everything. Every year chip makers go, "Look how fast our new chip is." And heat goes, "Oh really? Watch this." And then your phone turns into a pocket toaster. Now, Samsung's Exynos 2600 did something kinda wild. And yes, Samsung of all companies. The same Samsung that people love to roast for overheating chips. Irony level 100. Instead of just pushing more power and hoping for the best, Samsung said, "Okay, fine, let's actually deal with the heat." So they used fan-out wafer-level packaging. Fancy words, don't worry about it. And then added something called Heat Pass Block. Heat Pass Block sounds like a gym move, but it's basically a tiny heatsink sitting on top of the chip. That's it, no magic. Just a smarter way for heat to escape instead of throwing a house party inside your phone. Samsung says this improves heat flow by about 16%. And no, that's not small. In chipland, 16% is like suddenly finding an extra exit in a burning building. What does that mean for you? Your phone stays cooler, your chip runs fast for longer, and your phone doesn't start begging for mercy after 5 minutes of gaming. Now here's where things get spicy. A tipster recently said that many chip makers are planning to use this heat pass block thing. They didn't name names, but come on, we all know who's sweating right now. Qualcomm is absolutely feeling the heat, literally. The Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is a monster. It's crazy fast. Like, why does a phone need this much power fast? In Geekbench tests, it beat Apple's A19 Pro. But here's the catch. It needed 61% more power to do it. That's not efficiency. That's like flooring your car just to beat someone at a red light and then wondering why the engine's screaming. More power equals more heat. Always. No exceptions. Physics does not care about marketing slides. Qualcomm pushed clock speeds all the way to 4.61 gigahertz. That's laptop territory. Inside a phone, a tiny glass sandwich with no fan. And surprise, surprise, phones started overheating. The OnePlus 15 is a perfect example. Before a software update, it wasn't just throttling. Benchmark apps were crashing. The phone was basically saying, "I'm done, I quit." That's not normal. That's heat completely losing control. And now, Qualcomm wants to go even further. The upcoming Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 and Gen 6 Pro will use 4th generation Oryon cores. Rumors say clocks could hit 4.8 gigahertz. That's insane. That's why are we doing this levels of insane? Yes, TSMC's 2N process will help a bit, sure. It's more efficient, but let's be real. When you push clocks that high, power draw goes up. And when power goes up, heat shows up with snacks and stays. This is exactly why heat pass blocks suddenly matters so much. Vapor chambers are nice, they've done their job for years, but they're getting tired. They're like, bro, I was built for 3 gigahertz, not this madness. You can't just slap a bigger vapor chamber forever. Phones are thin, space is limited. At some point, heat needs to escape right from the chip itself. That's what HPB does. Now, let's talk about MediaTek, because they're in the danger zone too. MediaTek uses ARM CPU designs. ARM cores are solid, but they usually run hotter when pushed hard. Qualcomm's custom Oryon cores are more efficient, and even those are struggling. So MediaTek is basically playing on hard mode. The upcoming Dimensity 9600 is expected to be even faster, even more powerful, and yes, even hotter. MediaTek isn't changing direction. They want performance crowns too, which means they also need better cooling whether they like it or not. So when this rumor says many chip makers are adopting heat pass block, it's not shocking at all. Everyone at the top is hitting the same wall. And here's the funny part. Samsung, the company everyone laughs at for overheating Exynos chips, might actually be ahead for once. Instead of just boosting clocks and praying, they changed the physical design. That's growth. That's character development. Because here's the truth, we're hitting the point of diminishing returns. You push performance higher, but the gains get smaller and the heat gets bigger. At some point, it's not worth it. A phone that scores higher but throttles after 2 minutes is useless. Nobody buys a phone to stare at Geekbench numbers. They buy it to actually use it. And cooling is now the main bottleneck. Not CPU design, not GPU power, cooling. That's why heat pass block, or something very similar, is probably going to become mandatory in future flagship chips. Not a bonus feature, not a pro model only thing. Mandatory. because without better heat control, those 4.8 GHz clocks are just numbers on a slide. In real life, they turn into dropped frames, hot backs, battery drain, and phones that feel like they're judging you for gaming too long. So yeah, this might sound boring compared to cameras or AI features, but this stuff actually matters, a lot. Cooler phones mean better performance, fewer crashes, and no more "why is my phone on fire" moments. And honestly, if chip makers don't fix heat soon, the only upgrade we'll need is oven mitts. Let's hope they choose the smart path this time.